Hi friends, welcome to Beautifully Bookish Bethany. It is December 19th, which means we have under 2 weeks left in the year, and I would like to find a new favorite book before the end of the year. That is the goal of this video. So this is going to be a reading vlog where I attempt to find a favorite of the year before the year ends. And I think what I'm gonna do tentatively, because I've never done this before, is say this video will end when I rate a book 6 stars, which in my personal rating scale is what I give to a favorite of the year. In my quest to do this, I have come up with a stack of 5 books that I think are strong contenders, books that I suspect I will give 5 stars to and feel like maybe they could be a new favorite. Some of this is based on vibes. Some of this is based on the fact that I have read and enjoyed books from these authors before, and so we're gonna try this stack and see if one of them might get 6 stars from me and make my favorites list. So let me show you the books that are in my stack. First up, I have A Killing Cold by Kate Ellis Marshall. This actually comes out in February. I have an advanced copy. I love Kate Ellis Marshall's writing for YA and for adults. She writes queer, mystery, thriller, horror novels. This one is some kind of a thriller for adults. And oh, I didn't even know this. I put this on because I wanted to read it because I love Kate Ellis Marshall, but it's a gothic. It's a gothic with a family spending 2 weeks away every winter at their Grand Lodge. Oh my god, I also love a gothic. Okay, this is a very strong contender for 6 stars, so we're gonna read that. I also have A Trial of the Sun Queen by Nisha J. Tooley. I have heard really great things about this series. It's romantasy and it has a competition element to it. 10 women, a deadly contest. Only one can win the Sun King's heart. So this is like The Bachelor, but romantasy? I mean, sign me up. That also sounds amazing. So I feel like that maybe could be a good contender. Then one that is maybe the most wild card, sort of, because whether this works all depends on whether the marketing is accurate, and that is The Splinter in the Sky by Kemi Ashing-Giwa. This is a sci-fi novel, and let me read you what it says, and this is why I think it's a possibility. A diverse, exciting debut space opera about a young tea expert who ventures into the heart of an empire to find answers about her missing sibling. Perfect for fans of N.K. Jemisin and Nnedi Okorafor. So if the writing lives up to a couple of my favorite authors, that could be a strong contender, but we'll see. Will it? I don't know. We're gonna try. Next, I have The Vile Season by David Ferrero. This, I think, is a good guess because his debut novel, I can't remember if it made, I don't think it quite made my favorites of the year, but it was one of my honorable mentions. I loved it, and this one sounds really good. Bridgerton meets The Bachelor in this queer Regency romance of a vampire competing for the heart of a duke. So we've got another romantasy with Bachelor vibes, except this one is historical fantasy and gay. Love. Very excited for that. And then the last contender that I think could really be a winner is The Will of the Many by James Islington. I have heard so many people rave, oh my god, Petrick's quote is on the front of the book and so is Daniel Green's. That is hilarious. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, you don't normally see like booktubers quotes on the front of a book. #1 fantasy of the year, the best fantasy of 2023. I am just noticing this as I'm making this video, but I have heard so many people raving about this as an epic political fantasy, which I love. Oh, and it has an academy. I love an academy. At the Elite Katanan, we'll see. I'll listen to the audiobook. I'll let you know. Katanan Academy. A young fugitive uncovers layered mysteries and world-changing secrets in this new fantasy series. Okay, that also sounds incredible. So I feel like I did pretty well picking this list of 5 books. I don't think I can read all 5 by the end of the year, which is why I'm like, maybe this video ends when I find a 6-star read. But what if that happens with the first book? Oh my god. If it happens with the first book, I will at least read 2 of them, but I'm pretty excited. So wish me luck. I will be back once I have read one of these books and I will let you know how it goes. Well, I guess this video is gonna have to be just me trying most, if not all of the books, because y'all, this was 6 stars. First try. I mean, I don't expect that all of them will hit this level, but this was so fun. Okay. Honestly, I picked it up because I was like, I'll probably like it, but maybe it won't be a 6-star, but like it was fun. Okay, I will say this. When I give a book 6 stars, which is a favorite of the year, there's like 2 versions of a favorite of the year for me, right? One of them is, wow, this book was so high quality and blew me away and was so brilliantly written and I loved it. And then there's a book which is more this category, which is, this was so entertaining and I had such a great time reading it and I want to read more. And that is where this landed. So this is not going to be everybody's cup of tea, but I thoroughly enjoyed it and I really want to pick up book 2 as soon as possible. I got to the end and I was like, okay, I need book 2. Like, what's next? So I would say that this is a fantasy with strong romantic elements. I don't know that I would call it a fantasy romance exactly. You'll know why if you've read it, at least at this point. Maybe the series as a whole is fantasy romance, but like this book is not specifically. It is very much the vibes of The Bachelor in terms of all the drama and the pettiness and the people making bad choices and the romantic competition. Like all of that is in here, but then you throw in like ACOTAR meets a little bit of Hunger Games and more sex. It's really fun. I ate it up. I had such a good time. For me, this book scratches the same itch that reality television does. Something like The Bachelor or Love is Blind. It scratches that itch for me. I think some people were complaining that the main character is like, acts really immature and stuff, but listen, I've watched those reality dating shows of people in their 20s and they act like this. They 100% act like this. I think it is super realistic. Like, I think sometimes we just expect more of our characters than we do of people in real life, but I had a fantastic time. I don't know that the twist at the end was supposed to really be a twist because I guessed it really early on, but I also think maybe you're intended to guess what's going on early on. But we have a young woman plucked from prison and put into this competition with other young women to be the magical Sun Queen to the Fae High King, and she is the one human competitor, but she has secrets of her own, and it is a deadly competition. So it's a lot of fun. I really liked it. It will be joining my list of favorites of the year because it's one of the most entertaining books that I've read this year, and I immediately wanted to pick up book 2. So love it. So glad I put this on the list and picked it up because I had a great time. That was such a success. So the video could end now, but it's not going to. I'm just going to keep going and see how many of them I can get, because why the hell not? Honestly, sometimes it's nice to pick up the books that I'm most excited to read instead of sort of saving them for a rainy day. It feels luxurious. So next up is The Will of the Many by James Islington. So I'm going to start that one. And then because that one is longer, I may start another one as well. We'll see. So I will check back in once I have finished another book. So far, huge success. Loved this. It is the day before Christmas Eve. We're traveling tomorrow and I finished reading A Killing Cold by Kate Ellis Marshall. So let's talk about it. I loved this, really enjoyed it. Is it going to be a favorite of the year for me? I don't think so. I don't think it quite rises to that, but it was definitely a 5-star read. So I feel like another great pick to have on this TBR. I just really like the way that she writes thrillers. This one is interesting. I mean, you kind of see some stuff coming. I don't know. I don't really care if other people liked it or not because I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. So it follows a woman who's recently gotten engaged to this guy who's from this really wealthy family, and she's going to meet his family at this kind of isolated estate with a set of cabins in the winter snow. And they don't really like her very much, but then she starts to feel like there's something familiar about this place, and she doesn't remember the first 4 years of her life. And we slowly kind of learn stuff and figure out what's going on, and there's lots of twists. I thought it was great. It was really good. I was riveted. I had to like stop reading it and pick up something else in order to go to sleep, because otherwise I would have been up till like 2 a.m. because I just wanted to keep reading it, which for me is definitely successful for a thriller. So I really liked this a lot. 5 stars. Not a new favorite of the year, I would say, but a winner regardless. I am also well into The Will of the Many. I'm listening to the audiobook with it, and it's so good. I love it. I think this is going to make the list. I think this is going to make the favorites list. We'll see. I still have, about half of it left to go, but so far, excellent. Totally get why people love it. So I will continue reading, and I will check back in once I have finished another one of these books, but I am really enjoying this process. I have been guilty of saving books for a rainy day, books that I think I'm gonna like, instead of reading them when I really want to read them. And it feels kind of decadent to do this, to purposefully stack the deck in my favor, so to speak. So I'm really enjoying it. I'll check back in once I finished another book, and I will be in another state when I do it. Hello, as you can see, it is a different background. I've been sick for a couple days and we were with family, so I have not made a video. But let's talk about a couple of books. Tomorrow is New Year's Eve, and I have finished one more book, and I have DNF'd a book. Yikes. So the book that I ended up DNFing is this one, A Vile Season. I am so bummed because I loved his last book. It was so good. And I was so bored. I feel so bad saying that. I don't know what happened. Like, the premise seems like it should be good. We've got a vampire who's sort of made human again. I didn't fully understand that, but vampire, and then this competition to court a lordling. But the focus wasn't really on the competition. The pacing was kind of weird. I read almost half of it. I DNF'd it at 45%, and I'm bummed because I pre-ordered the book, but alas, this was a fail for me. So not a new favorite. Definitely the biggest letdown of anything that I put on this list so far. So that is really unfortunate, but I guess you can't win them all. However, I did also finish reading The Will of the Many, and I loved it. So good. Definitely also going to be a 6-star read. So if we get 2 6-star reads out of this, I will take it. That's incredible. Yeah. I may make a clip later talking more about it, just because I'm still recovering from having a cold. But it's interesting because the writing reminds me a little bit of Brandon Sanderson's writing, in the fact that it is easy to read. It's very accessible. You're with this character, but there's a lot of complexity to the world and the political system and what's actually taking place. Incredible. Loved it. I ate it up, and I want book 2, and I'm sad that we still don't know when we're getting book 2. Exactly. Hopefully next year, because I need to know what happens next. I am a sucker for like a magic school type thing. This does feel like a sci-fantasy, like kind of a mix of sci-fi and fantasy, and I'm very curious to know what is going on. I think our main character is a great character to follow. I have so many thoughts about this book, but I loved it. Loved it. Ate it up. 6 stars. So we have, like a more serious, big political sort of fantasy that won the day, and then a romantasy that won the day so far from this video. I have my final book, Splinter in the Sky, which I'm not going to go get right now, but I'll put a picture here. I have just barely started it. Don't have a lot of thoughts at this point. I am going to try to read some of it in the next couple of days before the new year, because we are traveling today. So I think that's going to be my travel book. I'm going to try to make some progress on it and see how it's going. But even if I don't finish that, I feel like this video has been a huge success, and it has been kind of great to prioritize books that I think I'm going to love. Even if one of them was a letdown, overall, it's been amazing. It is 10 o'clock on New Year's Eve, and there's no way that I'm finishing this book before the year is over, so we're gonna wrap this video up. I am like 80 something pages into it, and while I will say I'm loving it, it's really good, really fascinating world building, and I can see the references to Nnedi Okorafor and Kay Jemisin for sure. It is not going to be in my 2024 reading, so maybe it'll be a new favorite in January. We'll see how that goes. Stay tuned to see how I do with it as I finish it, because I do plan to finish it. But I knew it was gonna be tough to get through all 5 books before the end of the year, which is totally fine. Because honestly, we did better than I thought I was going to anyway. So as a recap, we started with 5 books. I read 3 of them. I DNF'd 1. Excuse my voice, I'm getting over a cold, but I DNF'd A Vile Season. Still bummed about this. I think it just was kind of boring, meandered a lot, was not giving me the juiciness that I wanted, and was doing a lot of like, I'm like, you have such a good setup. I don't know, it shouldn't be boring. That was a bummer. Still bummed about that. But I did finish 3 books. 1 of them was 5 stars and 2 of them were 6 stars, favorites of the year. So I'm going to call this a resounding success as a project. A Killing Cold by Kate Alice Marshall was 5 stars. This kept me up late at night. I didn't want to put it down. It kept me turning the pages. Again, maybe not like her best book I've ever read, but still a 5-star read for me and gave me what I wanted. I loved it, really enjoyed it. Trial of the Sun Queen by Nisha J. Tooley. This was giving me the drama that A Vile Season said it was going to give me. I mean, if you're going to give me a marriage competition, you got to give me the drama and the messiness, and this absolutely did that with characters I was interested in, mysteries that are yet unsolved, and it left me wanting to pick up book 2. So really excited to have started a new series that I think is finished. So in theory, I could go get the rest of the books and just read them all. But I want to know what's going to happen next. Loved this. Definitely one of my favorite reading experiences this year. And then lastly, the book that honestly wins the video, The Will of the Many by James Islington. I finally wrote my review, and I am just so impressed with this book. I don't know how much I had to say in my last clip. I think it was pretty short, but this is really accessible writing. Think like Brandon Sanderson, Patrick Rothfuss, but it's deceptively accessible because the world and what's actually happening is so just brilliantly crafted and complex as a political fantasy with sci-fi elements and a magic school academy situation. It's great. I loved it. So it's a coming of age story. It's easy to read. There's so many twists and turns and mysteries and things that we don't know. I desperately want to read book 2. And this is one that I think is going to be a lasting favorite. I would say it reminds me of Sanderson's writing, except that it gets less bogged down in unnecessary details. Like, there is detail, but I feel like it doesn't go quite as far with it. So if that's an issue you've had, I would recommend this. I loved it. This is one I would reread. I definitely look forward to continuing on in the series, and I am very glad I picked it up. It deserves all the hype that it's been getting. Absolutely. So there you go. That is my end of year challenge to see if I could find some new favorites before the end of the year. And I did. I found 2. Overall, really great experience. I think I did a pretty good job of picking books for myself. And I'm excited to continue reading A Splinter in the Sky because so far it's really good as well. Talk to me in the comments down below. Let me know any of your thoughts on anything I talked about in this video. And let me know, how did your reading go for the end of the year? Did you pick up anything new and exciting? Did you stick with tried and true favorites? Let me know how you've picked it up. But I will say it was really nice prioritizing things that I was most excited to read, because a lot of times I don't do that, and it was a bit of a nice change. So talk to me in the comments down below. Hope you guys had very happy holidays with family and whoever you were celebrating with. If you like this video, it always helps if you give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you want to see more. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.